couple of announcements from our end and then turning it over for open Q&A. I just want to remind everyone that we do have different mechanisms to be able to engage with the Semantic Kernel team. We have these monthly sessions dedicated for those in the APAC time zone. We do have other sessions for US and EMEA on Wednesdays weekly in the morning of Pacific. And then we also have some Python development office hours and Java development office hours that rotate every other Wednesday for dedicated time for individuals who are wanting to help us and dive into code further. In lieu of the sessions, if there's a couple of weeks that go by and you have questions, don't feel like you need to wait until office hours. We have a lot of engagement in our GitHub discussions branch within Semantic Kernel, and so please always use that. We go in and triage it on every other day basis to make sure that we're on top of questions, and so don't want to feel like in between these sessions you can't get support as well. There's a couple of announcements that I want to bring to everyone's attention. I'll link to the blog as well, but we have a build recap, which shows all the different recordings, all the different great announcements that we had around build. And so I'll link to the blog for this post. And then the one other one I want to highlight is one that Vic actually helped with that we just got published out earlier this week around building AI applications and being able to have that ease of use between Semantic Kernel and .NET Aspire. And so I'll go ahead and link to the blogs as well, as we'd love for you to take a look and ask any questions you have in that sense. But I'll go ahead and turn it over for open Q&A now for any questions that people may have.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Oh, sorry, you go. Sorry, you go.
Okay. Yes, it's not directly related to semantic kernel, but it's to kernel memory. But it's a bit related, I think. So we use that to ingest a really big data set, about 9 million records in one CSV file. And that's working well. It's just taking a very long time. So our estimation is currently it takes about 30 days to ingest all 9 million records. I know kernel memory was born out of semantic kernel because of performance and scaling issues, but I was just wondering if we are on the right track and that 30 days for 9 million record is something we can improve, or if it's just that we have to live with it.
It's a really good question around memory. I haven't heard of a use case with quite that large of memory. Ben, is that something that you would have more insight into for kernel memory?
So the semantic kernel team doesn't officially support the kernel memory repo. So I don't really have any details on that. What I would suggest is that you reach out to Devis, who's sort of the main owner of that repo, and kind of ask an issue or something like that for that and see what he says about it. Yeah, I think that would be my best suggestion.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Ben. I'm going to grab the link. This question actually came up in our morning office hours as well. And so I'll grab a link to his contact if you don't already have it as well, that I'll put in chat.
I've just done that.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. And then I know that there was another question. Danny, did you have a question you wanted to dive into?
So I was just wondering, like we are trying to use vision to analyze some pictures, and so what's the best way to use vision? That we try to keep all the LLM interactions using with the prompt function, but I can't find a prompt function example that's using vision. That's only native function. So is it better to go with prompt function or native functions for vision purpose?
Was that vision that you said?
Yeah, vision. So
Vision, yes.
GPT vision.
Let me take a look and see if we have any samples that show doing vision with prompts. But my guess is that we don't have really strong support for using prompt functions with vision because binary content is sort of challenging to ingest in the prompt. And so it's probably going to be easiest to do that with a native function, but I can just double check and
Sure,
see
yeah.
if we have any.
Yeah, that's great. That's so for us, if we're just passing a URL with the image, really, without really passing the binary image itself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. That should be doable, but let me double check.
All right, great. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Ben. As Ben is looking up the sample, are there other questions? I'm not seeing them in chat, and I see we have a few more folks who have joined in. If you do have any questions, feel free to come off of mute or put them in chat, and we can go through them that way as well.
So, Danny, would you potentially like expand that kind of example that you're after? Are you just wanting to use prom with vision?
Yeah, so we just want to use vision to analyze some product images.
Mhm.
And so we got the image link. We got like the link to basically it's just JPEG or PNG images. And we just want to pass it to vision to do some analysis or to extract some product info. And yeah, so like I already got it working, but I just want to see like what's the proper way of doing it. So I got it working with native function. But we're trying to keep like native function just for our internal sort of API calls, and all the LLMs goes into the prompt function. So I'm trying to see like whether there's a way to call GPT vision using prompt function.
Okay. Yeah. I just paste in a quick sample as well on that. Again, probably Ben can double check on that as well. I think it's
Are
also,
there other? Oh, go for it, Vic.
yeah, I think there's also discussion that we had as well with Danny just around semantic chunking. I don't know if there's a plan because I know that we have a text a chunking available within Semantic Kernel, but I don't think that's supports semantic chunking. So we're just wondering if there's a plan for that, Sophia or Ben. So I'll just
Yeah,
paste in the semantic kernel text chunker class.
I'm just looking up the samples that we have to see because we've done some rebranding with some of the samples as well. So I'm just looking that up.
Yeah. And Danny, if you want to add another context.
Yeah, we just want to chunk some documents really, and we're just researching on different ways of chunking. So so we came across a semantic chunking as well as agentic chunking. And currently agentic chunking is still in a kind of a research phase, and some libraries already support it like LangChain, but like people are not sure whether it's working well for all the scenarios or not. So we're thinking that probably semantic chunking is probably all we need for now, just like a little bit safer. Yeah, so we just try to find a chunker that supports that, or we probably need to develop something ourselves. There's nothing available in C#.NET world.
Yeah, just put in the there's a few samples in there. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, there was one text chunking for usage. There's a .NET sample. I'm assuming you're using .NET that I put in chat as well as a good reference.
Yep. Yeah, this
So this is like
Yeah.
more like a character or paragraph-based chunker. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think all of our chunkers are pretty basic at this point. The whole business around chunking and how you do that can get very complicated, and it's very sort of dependent on what you're chunking. And so we haven't yet started to kind of build out more tools built in for that. So I think, yeah, I think probably the best bet is to kind of look around at something else. I know like it depends on what vector source, things like that you're using. Like if you're using Azure search, right? AI search, I know that it can do pretty good chunking for you. If you're not using that, then it sort of depends on what you're using. But for the most part, we don't have anything more complicated than just sort of basic paragraph level chunking.
Yep. Cool.
Built
No
in.
worries. No worries.
Yeah, and I know that kernel memory is not part of semantic kernel. Are they looking for, I guess, contribution on that project as well around chunking? And I guess from programmatic or kind of future plan perspective, semantic kernel memory, and so on. Is there kind of a sort of high-level vision or high-level plan around how we can pick kind of some best bits from kernel memory and then put them across? I think Matthew mentioned that a while back. So just wondering if there's maybe a quick update on that. Maybe Ben or Sophia.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the sort of official stance on things right now, but I think that what we're realizing is that kernel memory is being used quite a lot, like a lot more than we thought that it was actually. And so, it has some really good functionality in it. People seem to like it quite a bit. And so Matthew, I know, has been working pretty closely with some other teams in Microsoft to kind of see if someone wants to sort of take it and kind of run with it, or sort of build it in, or build in some of its nice features right into other services that we have offered. So I think it's sort of in the works still, nothing official yet, but we do realize that there's a lot of good stuff built into it that people like, and so we don't want to just get rid of it, but we need to find a better home for it, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Great.
I'm not seeing any questions in chat, but are there other individuals who have scenarios or questions that you would either want to put in chat or come off of mute? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, maybe one question related to kernel memory. So we use it, like I said, for the large data set, or is it something that because we pick kernel memory because it seemed to work best, but would you rather recommend to use semantic kernel instead? Or is it fine to keep using kernel memory?
Sorry, what was the first part of that? Is it okay to keep using kernel memory, or is there something
Yeah, so
else?
because we like the feature, for example, that it provides the citations where it found the answer and the queuing, batching.
Yeah, I mean, I think if kernel memory is working for you right now, I think it's probably fine to keep using that. Like I was saying, like I don't think we're just gonna get rid of it. I think we'll try to figure out how to take the things out of that are liked, and either move them into something else or find a different way to provide support for what's there. I think if like if you've tried out AI search, if there are things that are missing from that, like that would be really good to hear about too, right? Because like we can kind of try to help influence that team to add in missing features that are there. That's really kind of Microsoft's big push, for that kind of thing. So if they're missing features, then we would love to hear about it.
Yeah, it's mainly the citations that provides which embeddings it has found the answer in.
That's feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We moved away from
Okay.
Azure AI Search, by the way, to Postgres because the Azure AI Search
Oh,
is
we did. Okay.
expensive to store like 200 gigabyte of data.
Yes, it is. We've heard that before. Okay. Citations and cost. Sounds like some of the new things. Okay. 1 second. I think I found. I don't see any examples for this, but I am seeing unit tests and stuff that show that it works on how you can pull in images and prompt functions. So I'll send you some links to some files that should be enough to show you how to do it. If you take a look at it and it's not clear what to do, let me know. But the gist is that there's an image tag that you can put in and provide the URL.
All right, cool.
That should work out for you.
Cheers.
Like this is a gap in our samples to show some more of this stuff.
Yep, got it. Cool. Yeah, I'll have a look. Thanks for that.
Okay, great.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Are there other questions that folks have?
Has anyone seen the latest build updates? And anyone use Python, Java? They're all GA now. Pretty quite crowd. Seems that it's probably .NET then. Everyone is.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well. Has anyone looked at Python or Java or played around with them at all since the build announcement? Yeah, it looks like it's mainly .NET for the crowd. There is a question in chat. Luke, do you want to come off of mute? I'm happy to read out your question if not.
Yeah, I can come off mute. So within the AI in a box sample repo, which is really great, I love it, thank you. There's a sample for Semantic Kernel bot in a box. So that's essentially Azure Bot Framework talking to Semantic Kernel and obviously some backends like AI search and things like that as well. And it's a really good concept because what I was looking at was I'm doing a presentation on AI in a couple of weeks to some students just who have just gone through some fundamental AI 900 training. And I was going to use this sample with teams to try and go, hey, like talk about the boot camp that they're doing and things like that. But it looks like this particular sample still has some work to do in terms of there's a couple of scenarios that are still in progress. And when I actually got the bot framework and semantic kernel up and running, it just kept like I don't have any screenshots at the moment because I deleted it, but yeah, it just seemed it broke to put it bluntly. So I'm just wondering if you've got time or know of the Marcos, I think was the person who initially did the Marco to look at that sample, because I think being able to leverage bot framework with semantic kernel in this type of demo environment opens up like Teams integration and all sorts of other things. So yeah, it's not important. I've kind of gone on to other, I think I might just do an AI studio demo instead. But I think that that particular sample may just need to look at.
Yeah, so I haven't spent much time looking at this recently, but I mean, we have heard several questions lately about sort of how to integrate SK with Teams, bots, and other things like that. So I think it would be valuable for us to take a look at it and make sure that it is working like it should. So I'll definitely take a note here.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, that's all I ask because it was just the only
Perfect.
thing that I was starting.
Yeah,
to
thanks
play
for the
out.
feedback, Luke. I know we've been hearing this from a few others, so we'll definitely take note of it. I'm seeing in chat that there's another individual who's plus wanting that and had tried a couple months ago as having issues. I'll go on to the next question I see in chat from Nathan. He's asking, is there any view of the pros and cons of other SDKs? We're considering where we want to spend our efforts, and we have a POC in .NET, but we have more experience in Python.
Sophia, do you have any views?
Yeah, I'm just looking through. So for other SDKs, I would say that Semantic Kernel, what's really great is being able to use function calling, being able to have that parity across other languages, especially when you're saying you have more experience in Python. There's a lot of work that we've been doing in Python, especially they'll be coming soon with agents as well. And so I would say that really is the pro of Semantic Kernel. And with other SDKs, are there other ones in particular that you're looking at that we can dive into?
Just typing right now.
I don't know.
Nice.
Meant between the languages.
Oh, an SK. Interesting.
Okay.
So some differences between the languages, maybe. So let's see. So as you know, like Python and Java just went V1, right, a few weeks ago. So we are stable now, and there's like a lot of really good stuff in there, but it's not completely at parity with .NET. So some of the things that you'll notice are like the agent framework is not there yet. We're going to start working this probably next week. So you'll start to see things coming in. Also, I think in .NET there's more AI connectors currently. Those will be coming in soon. So overall, I mean, I think .NET is still out, sort of in front, but the majority of the functionality and the sort of base things that we have are there in both Java and Python. And I would expect that things would be pretty close to full parity over the next probably couple of months, is what I would think.
I've been able to pull over now. We think. Thanks for answering that. Is there anything from any considerations from a performance standpoint? I know that's something that the dev team are kind of tossing up. Do we try to get all of the Python devs to make the change over to .NET to get some of the hypothesized performance improvements that we'll get at scale by having everything be .NET native versus Python? Yeah, we've got a nationwide user base, and traffic is a consideration. I don't want to kind of sit here and go through numbers and all the rest, but yeah, so that is a consideration for us as to whether we'd go down one path or the other.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, honestly, we don't have any current performance comparisons between the languages. That's definitely something that we can get out at some point here. But SK is very lightweight, honestly. Like it's I would be surprised that, like, with all of the different things to think of in your system, the language being used from SK is probably not going to make much of a difference, is my guess. When
Yeah,
you get
sure.
down to sort of like optimizing that level, then yeah, there is probably some difference. But yeah, we can do some work to kind of publish some sort of numbers on that, because I think that is a good thing to get out there. But my guess is that it's very, very similar in performance. I think, there are other gains, obviously, like if you're using other .NET things, or if you're building, like .NET Core services or something like that, like there's probably other reasons why it would be good to kind of standardize on something. But yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that one for you. It's probably up to how your team works best.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm kind of considering as well. I think just because we've got more coverage in Python, it would make more sense to go down that path. But awesome. Thanks so much for answering the question.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it. I see a question chat from Rahul. Rahul, do you want to come off of mute to go through it, or would you like me to go through in chat?
Yeah, I can talk. I was also there in the morning session, was not able to cover up the questions. So I'm trying to index some fields on like Cosmos DB from MongoDB vCore, and was able to do that, but I want to also index on top of like blob storage data. So I looked up, so on quick Google search, it says like the solution is to go with Azure AI search service, but I'm not sure like is it an indexing service, or like how can I incorporate in my architecture? So like I'm basically building a RAG application, so like a simple chatbot against my Cosmos DB data. And so I chose to do it on Semantic Kernel. So any suggestions you have for this?
Okay, so the question is about the best way, to do a similar thing for data that's in Blob, Azure Blob Storage.
Right. So I have like my data in Cosmos and like in blob storage, but they are somehow connected. So let's say like a kind of a reference I have in Cosmos DB, and the actual file is in the blob storage, and the other way around too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, sorry, I think you mentioned that there's a recommended service that you're wondering about. Is that right?
Azure AI search.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that AI search has a way where you can basically point it to the blobs, right? And it'll like automatically index them for you. So you could definitely check that out and see if that works for you. If you have sort of custom needs on, like how you want to chunk things, or on only indexing certain parts of it, then you would probably want to do something more custom. In that case, I mean, it's probably as simple as just, like reading in the blob content and then chunking it and indexing that way.
Right. The only thing, the only issue I have is like currently I have like converted all those Cosmos documents into vector embeddings, and like I'm storing in the Cosmos itself. But with the additional data source as like blob storage, or in the future maybe something else. So I was just wondering, is there any better way to deal with it? Like, can you directly index on Azure AI search, but where exactly you will store the vector content of those documents?
I see. So you're sort of trying to build out the full system, and you're saying, okay, I have data that's in Cosmos DB, and I have data that's in Blob, and they're linked, and I'm trying to figure out sort of the best way to index all of these things together.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so the question about AI search, I don't know if AI search currently supports pulling from Cosmos DB directly. I can take a quick look and then get back to you in a minute here, but I'm not sure if it does. I am pretty sure that it does support it for blobs directly, but I guess one thing is like you want a way to sort of link the Cosmos DB data that you have indexed with the blob data that you have indexed. So it would be challenging if you use two different systems for that, right? So my sort of first take on it is like, if AI search does support pulling data directly from Cosmos DB, then you could just go with that. If they don't, then it would probably complicate your life to use it for one of those things and not for both of them, right? For the blob data, but
Right.
not the Cosmos DB data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using AI search already for the Cosmos data that you're indexing manually?
Not yet. I haven't tried it. So I'm just using a normal Cosmos DB from MongoDB vCore as my database, and like I have indexed my vector content that is inside that document itself.
Mhm.
That was the suggested architecture by the Microsoft Docs, so I followed that. But yeah, I mean it's like fair to have a separate search service that can like handle all of the external data source. I'm not sure it does or not.
I'm just-
Yeah, it looks like Vic just added something in the chat here. Like maybe it does support Cosmos DB.
Okay.
Yeah, just paste in a link there. It seems that it does
Okay.
support. And
I'll
which
have
Cosmos DB, MongoDB or NoSQL?
No, so it's Cosmos DB for MongoDB vCore. It's essentially Cosmos DB with vector search capability, I think.
Okay, yeah, I just pasted in another link then. Forget about that one. It's the second one.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so there you go. I think I would try to set up AI search pointing to both your blob data and your Cosmos DB data and see how that works.
All right, I'll check it out. This. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thanks for the question, Rahul. I'm not seeing other questions in chat, other ones that folks have. If not, we can give it a minute or two more, but if there aren't any other questions, we can end early if there's nothing else folks have. Graham, not seeing anything else come in, so we can go ahead and close today's office hours. Thanks again, everyone, for joining and really appreciate it. Ben, thank you for coming and diving into the questions. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you all in July.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
team. Appreciate it.